practice. You will only be able to message me. I am not your teacher. I am your host, in a private message in the chat box. If you have any issues or anything like that, you can let me know. Other than that, Mrs. Pulling will accept raised hands for any questions or answers to questions that she might have. Let's please be respectful of the rules. And yes, enjoy your lesson. Mrs. Pulling, you can take over now. We just unmute. There we go.
Good afternoon, grade 11s. My name is Puleng Litziga, and I am your LO teacher, your grade 11 LO teacher for the duration of the lockdown. On my screen are my details. You can contact me on litzigapuleng@yahoo.com. That is my email address. So it's my surname Litziga, my name Puleng in small letters at yahoo.com. That is where you can contact me. So yesterday we were covering study skills, chapter 7, unit 1, and a bit of unit 2. So today we are going to continue with chapter 7, unit 2 and 3. We're going to be completing unit 3 today so that we can start with unit 4 tomorrow. And we're still dealing with study skills and then examination writing skills. And we're also going to check the processes of assessment today. So the lesson objectives for today are that you must know how to analyze your own performance and your own performance in assessment tasks, and that you must know the key points on how to manage your time. Now we can begin our lesson. Process of assessment. Analyze performance in assessment tasks. So this is going to teach you how to analyze your performance in your assessment tasks. The process of assessment is useful because it tells you what you know and what you still need to learn and understand. So basically, assessment is a way in which you can tell or test yourself to see how well you know your work, and it will also tell you what you need to study more or the areas that you're not doing well in so that you can work on them. Skills practice. So that is our first point. Let's deal with our first bullet point. Keep a good record of your progress in all your subjects. So you have to keep a good record of all the subjects that you're doing. For instance, if you're doing your 7 subjects, you need to check your marks for each subject. You can check them every term. For instance, what I used to do is I took my marks for my first term and then I take my marks for my second term. I see here I got a 70 for English first term, then second term I got a 60 for English. Then I calculate my percentages and I can see where I did well and where I didn't do well in terms of percentages. And then basically I can see where I need to go for third term, how hard I need to study, whether I need to improve. And for each subject as an individual, I know what I'm supposed to do and how much I'm supposed to study. And obviously you're also going to break this down into your assignments and your tasks. So let's say for the first semester, semesters are for university. So for you, it's going to be terms. For your first term, you're going to check your marks on your assignments and your tests. See how well you do in your assignments and your tests and try to improve on the marks. So remember, your assignments and your tests are what is going to make the marks that you're going to get for your average, and your average is going to be taken into consideration when getting your final mark. Obviously, they're going to combine your average with your examination mark, and then together you'll get your pass mark. So you need to keep track of how well you're doing with the assignments and with the tests, and then together with your final marks for your terms, so that you can see where to improve and where you need to do well. So your second bullet point, work through each return test, exam, and assessment task. This process gives you the opportunity to identify the weaknesses you need to work on. So when you get your papers back from your teacher, your assignments and your exams, you need to go through them and see what you got wrong and what you didn't get right, where you need to work on. You look at the questions that you didn't do well on, and then you look at their answers. So you go back and you answer the very question, you practice those questions, you try to answer them in order to get them right. And then remember, you start first in class, because your teacher will go through your papers, your tests, and your assignments before they give them back to you in class, and they'll show you where you went wrong. You'll do corrections. That is when you need to pay attention when you're doing corrections, so that you can see what your teacher expected from you for the paper or for whatever task that you were given, so that you don't repeat the same mistakes when you are doing your exams or your final year exams. So find out where, this is the third bullet point, find out where you went wrong and where and how you can improve. So this also has to do with that exam paper that you will be holding, your task or your test that you will be checking. So you will look at the questions. Let's say there are 3 sections. Section 1, you didn't do quite well. Section 2, you did averagely. And section 3, you did quite well. Obviously, now you're going to go concentrate on section 1, because that is the section that you didn't do well in. So you're going to go back and you're going to do your remedials based on section 1. So bullet point number 4, redo each exam to practice and see if you know the subject matter. So it's all about having your exam paper and redoing it, because that is what's important. That at the end of the day, you need to study all your work for the year for your final exam. So knowing where you went wrong during the year will help you in order for you to prepare for your next exam. Thick man has his hand raised. Thick man.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I have a question. So when we're taking into account our performance during each term or semester or whatever sort of quarterly amount of time during the year, do we strictly have to take in the SBAs, or do we have to combine it as well with our test marks during the year and the SBAs as well?
Check everything, combine it with the SBAs, and compare your SBAs from one term to another. So combine it and see on different levels. From your task, consider everything and see whether you can improve in every area.
So will it give you necessarily an holistic image or perspective on each individual term and how accurate it is if you take in the SBA as well as tests?
Yes, I believe it will give you a holistic view of how you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. So we can move on. We were on the 4th bullet point, redo each exam to practice and see if you know the subject matter. So we've covered that. And then the last bullet point on the slide, adjust your study plans so that you can spend more time on subjects in which you have lower marks. So you know you have a study plan. We are also going to cover study plans in this lesson. The last lesson to cover study plans. But when you have a study plan, it will help you and you know where you went wrong and where you should improve. Then you can focus on the places where you can use your study plan, the time that you've got in your study plan, to focus more on the subjects that you didn't do well in. Okay, that was the completion of Unit 3, what was left for Unit 3. Now, this new slide is the beginning of Unit 3, which is more focused on time management skills and annual study plan. Annual is a year, so it is your plan for the year. So manage your time and time management guidelines. So the following points are guidelines that you can use in order to manage your time. Now, the points are more on a behavioral level, how your behavior can influence you with regards to doing well with your time. So you'll see when we start, the first bullet point is always be on time for school. Being on time for school is very important because when you're late for school and everyone is late for school, then it will affect subject. Let's say your can be 30 to 45 minutes. We are allocated time according to a subject. So if you arrive late, you are disturbing the amount of learning that you need to make in order to cover the work that you have for the subject. So you need to be on time for school so that you can start on time. And then second bullet point, be on time for your next class. So it's still the same point. Each teacher is allocated time for their subject, and each teacher will have maybe 45 minutes in order to get through their lesson, give you work, give you an activity, make sure you understand the questions and the work, and be able to take in your questions. So if you spend a lot of time fooling around between classes, making a noise, not getting to the next class, then you are going to be wasting time that you can be using to learn your content in the next class. So you need to follow the rules that you get at your school, whether it's single file, keep left, keep quiet, hurry up. You're obviously not going to run. You're going to walk fast, get to the next class in time. For instance, in my high school, you only got 5 minutes to move from one class to another. If you take more time than that, then you're considered as late. So in 5 minutes, you need to be in the next class and you need to already be sitting down, taking out your books and be ready to work. So make sure that you follow your school rules about what time you need to be at school and what time you need to be in the know how you spit in the next bullet slide in the next slide. That you spend on social media, on Facebook or on Twitter, then you need to know that you need to spend less time on those social media platforms or on those entertainment areas, and that you need to use that time that you're spending there in order to focus on your studies. So the next point, make a study plan. So you need to make a plan of how you're going to cover your work and how you're going to study. Make to-do lists and keep them. So you need to make a sort of like a checklist of things that you need to do daily and make sure that you do them. Keep to them and stay disciplined. So avoid procrastinating or putting off doing tasks. If something needs to be done, do it immediately. So don't procrastinate, don't overthink, and don't allow your mind to rove around a lot. If you supposed to do something, do it then. If you remember that you have English homework, do it right then. Don't say I'll do it later. If you remember that you're supposed to prepare for a test, to do it right then. Don't postpone it and say you'll do it later, because procrastination will cause you to be late for work and to have a backlog on your work. So be disciplined. You can't do anything if you're not disciplined. You're not going to be able to achieve anything. So you need to stick to the rules that you set out for yourself. You need to have self-control and you need to make sure that you cover your work. Be disciplined. No one is going to be there to discipline you for your studies. Your parents can try and your teachers can try, but it is your determination that is going to get you through your schoolwork. In order for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve, you need to be disciplined. So the second last bullet point is avoid distractions. So if loud music distracts you, or if your brother or sister distracts you, then you need to ask them to turn down the volume on the music. You need to ask your brothers and sisters to give you some space for studying, and you need to set out times for studying. We did that in the last lesson, and know that between 6 and 10, no one must disturb you from studying. And then, yeah, do at least 2 or 3 hours of homework after school every day. So it means every day you need to um, allocate time to study. So you can't afford to have a day where you don't put in hours of studying. You can't have a day off during the week. Weekdays are for schoolwork and weekdays are for studying. So if you've got 7 subjects, some of you have 8 because you're doing dance or fine art on the side or French on the side as an extra subject. So you can't afford to be doing 7 subjects and then not do anything on any particular day. So every day you need to put in hours in order to cover your work. And then on the next slide, when you are studying, see if you are a morning person or an evening person. And then you're going to use your best study times to study for your most difficult subjects. So we are different as people. Everyone is unique. We did that in the lesson where we were covering left brain people and right brain people, intelligences, and what is the most suitable study for you to apply when you are a left brain or right brain person, according to your intelligences. So it also will differ. You will differ from one person to another. So some people are nighttime people, evening people, and some people are morning people. So you will study at the best time or at the time when you are most effective. So some people will be more effective in the night and some people will be more effective in the morning, just as long as you take enough sleep. So basically you're going to spend the time that you're effective, you're going to use to study the most difficult subjects or the subjects that you need to pay attention to. Let's say you're scoring less marks for maths and science. So you're going to use the study times that you're more effective in to study your maths and science. And then if you're a person who's good with numbers, good with maths and science, and you're scoring maybe lower points for your more theoretical subjects, then you maybe need more time for biology or for business or for history, study subjects, subjects that require you to go through a lot of content that is written and things that you need to memorize. So you go and focus on those things during the day if you're most effective during the day. And then if you also need to see that you get enough sleep. So as a grade 11 learner, your developing brain needs enough sleep. Your ability to learn depends on getting enough sleep on school nights. So basically, you need, as a grade 11, you're not yet grown. Your brain is still developing. You might not be a child, you're not in primary school, but your brain is still developing. So you do need to take in enough sleep. It is advisable for you to sleep at least minimum 8 hours to 10 hours. And I know it's difficult because there is a lot of work and getting to school and from school. School also takes a lot of time and extramural activities too. So, but do try to have enough sleep so that you can reboot and be fresh enough to not fall asleep during your studies and not fall asleep during class. And then when you're studying, see if you spend the night on social media. Spending the night on social media disturbs your brain. Your brain knows that in the night time you need to sleep. So if you spend the night on social media, then your brain is awake the whole night. Even research shows that that bright light that shows the brightness of your phone or your laptop during the night just disturbs your brain. So you won't be fresh enough the following day, and you'll probably sleep during your class, or you won't be able to concentrate. So see if you watch TV till late at night. Also, the same thing with social media. You don't want to waste time watching television late at night. Some people usually say that the people that you watch on television already get paid for what they do. You're watching people who are getting salaries for what they do, and you are not studying. One day you're going to end up with bad results and not know what to do, or there's no university that's going to be able to take you with your marks. And then what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to pay TV anymore because you'll be entertaining yourself with the one that's left without all that entertainment that you were taking. And so don't watch TV late at night. Also study, do your work so that you can pass, graduate, and get your salary. Watch people that get paid whilst you're also getting paid. So do not wait till the day before your due date in order to start your work. So you need to start your work on time. Don't delay when you're starting your work. Start early enough in order to cover all the work that you need to cover so that you're well prepared on time and that you don't do things the day before, because that will cause you anxiety. You might go into panic mode and you might be stressed. And when you're stressed and scared, you're not going to be able to write the way you want to write. It will affect the way you write your paper. And then the next slide, give yourself short breaks. So you need to take short breaks in order to stay focused. So take a short break every 20 or 45 minutes. So I know this is going to vary from one person to another. For some people, 20 minutes is too short to be settling down, studying, and then stop again, and then having to settle down again, study. So it says, oh, 45 minutes. 45 minutes is probably the length of your classes if they're not 30 minutes. So if you can concentrate throughout your class, then you can concentrate throughout 45 minutes, and do take a break so that you don't put pressure on yourself. Do exercises for about 5 to 10 minutes, then go back to your study work. So when you take take breaks, do move around, move your body, and whether you want to stretch or jump or hop, whatever you want to do, run on the spot, just so that you can get your brain going. Exercise is healthy for your brain, and it will have a positive impact on you. And you can study and learn your work more effectively when you exercise. So keep to your schedule. Timing is everything. You need to keep to your schedule. You need to be disciplined. If you don't keep to your schedule, going to find yourself underneath unnecessary pressure. So do make sure that you keep to your schedule. And then the last bullet point, never go for longer than an hour without giving yourself a break. Now, this is for people who want to push themselves over 45 minutes. I know there are people that will say once you start studying, I can study for 3 hours without stopping. And if I take a short break, I might lose momentum and not be able to settle down again. It takes a while for me to settle down. So you can push for an hour and make sure maybe you get through a section, maybe a unit. If a chapter is divided into 3-4 units, you can take, maybe pace yourself and say, I'm going to study this one unit for 1 hour and then I'll take a break. So you can go through that unit for an hour and then do take a break. It's healthy for you to do so. So drawing up an annual study plan. It is important for you to, if you don't plan, there's a phrase that says, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. If you don't want to plan, then you're going to run into problems. So draw up a study plan for each term so that you will have a full plan for the year. This is called your annual study plan, and this will help you. We're going to go through what it will help you to do. So when you draw up a study plan, you're going to do it for each term so that you'll be able to cover your work for the whole year. So this will help. Drawing up a study plan will help you to plan ahead. It will help you to complete your task before the due date. And then it will help you to avoid cramming the night before your exam, because you will know your work before time, and then the night before your exam you will be revising or making sure that you can answer your past exam questions. And then if you plan ahead, if you make an annual study plan, it will help you to get better marks so you can improve your marks, and then you can prepare for success. If you plan well and you follow up on your plan, you're disciplined and get better marks, you can get a better opportunity to get into university, and not just get into university, but study for the course that you want. So basically, you are preparing for success when you study and you put in hard work. And then organize yourself. Organize yourself from your room, your study table. If there's clutter in your room, clutter on your study table, then you're not going to be able to concentrate. Your room shows how your mental state is really, it shows how you're taking care of yourself and whether you are taking yourself seriously. So organize yourself, organize your books, your shelves numerically, alphabetically, use highlighters, use stickers. Just organize yourself and make sure that everything is done well. So basically, follow a study timetable, make a timetable for all of, Thick Man has raised their hand again. Let me hear what you have to say.
Okay, so ma'am, do you think
Yes.
color has a very big impact when it comes to a lot of the notes that you make in class as well as at home, when it's in conjunction with your textbooks or whatever material you may have for research?
Color.
Color, yeah. So
color.
you did mention highlighters and you know, you could use like fine liners or something like that as well.
Yes,
So
okay. Mm-hmm.
so do you
Are you
think color is very impactful? And
well, well, I don't think it's very much. This is just my opinion. I don't think it's very much about the color, but it's just there for you to underline your keywords. It's more about helping your brain to remember the keywords or the important facts. And then using color, maybe a bright color, to color in whatever your keyword is, maybe make a circle or an asterisk, will help you to can help you to remember. But I know that there are colors, there's research about yellow or green, that it does something to your brain. So I was taught by one of my university lectures to not use yellow, but I can't remember what was the exact reason. So mm, I was encouraged to use colors that are more like pink, red, blues. So I think that will require extra research on my side and also on your side. You can go Google it and then just see. I think just as long as you use the color to aid yourself for remembering the facts that you need to know.
so it's more of a psychological thing rather than anything else.
Yes, it's psychological. Again, you know what? I don't want us to now want to rely on too much on colors, because other people don't have highlighters and really aren't don't have the privilege to have different colors. You find that they only have like a different colored pen, maybe a red pen or a purple pen. It's all about just underlining your keywords, circling, making an asterisk, drawing arrows, and then just trying to remember your keywords. So it is a bit psychological. If you can get even one colored so that you can make a word stand out, top of the paper, they can fall onto keywords. I think that's what's important.
So what other memory techniques would you suggest for people battling to memorize their work?
Okay, wow, that is such a tough question. So I think I covered it in the last lessons when I was covering left brain and right brain. The theories do explain you the kinds of persons that we have and the different ways in which our brains work. And we also covered intelligences so that you can check what kind of a person you are. So what I would suggest you do, I don't know whether you were here for the last lesson, but you must go back and just evaluate, use the past slides in the textbook to evaluate what kind of a person you are, because you would have to know what kind of a person you are. We all differ from one person to another. You'd have to know whether you're more right brained, a creative person. That will give you the direction of which how what method that is more would work better with you. So you'd have to take it as an individual thing. It's not going to be the same for everyone. So I can't apply a blanket statement or give a general answer.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right. Spend enough time on each subject with more time on the subjects you struggle with. So when you make your annual study plan, we've already covered points like tracking your work, tracking your progress, subject by subject, seeing how well you're doing with your subjects. So taking that into consideration, you probably will have seen which subjects you struggle with. So in your study plan, you're going to make time for subjects that you struggle with. So you'll spend more time helping yourself to get to know your work better and getting to improve on those subjects. And then the last bullet point, plan exactly what you want to study. So this is all about being intentional and being deliberate. Be intentional about what you want to study. Be decisive. So if you decide today, I'm going to focus on maths, that should be your focus. Be intentional about wanting to cover sections, about wanting to do well for sections. If there are certain concepts that you don't understand or can't yet apply properly, maybe in economics or whatever, then you need to be intentional and tell yourself, I'm going to practice this concept or resolving this problem until I get it right. So we're done. So this is the summary for today. This is to summarize the work that we've done today. You need to use the right technique for answering different types of exam questions. It is important not to make common exam errors. Oh, this is also a summary for chapter 2. I can see that there's some unit 2 summary points. You need to understand keywords. And then the process of assessment tells you what you know and what you still need to learn. Keep records of your progress, work through return tests and tasks, redo old exams and adjust your study plan. And then if you manage your time well, you do not procrastinate or waste time to spend on each question. And then an annual study plan helps you to plan ahead and to give the right amount of time to each study subject. That is your summary. So this is an invitation for you to join me for tomorrow's lesson. Please join me for the next class, which is tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And we will be covering chapter 7, unit 4, where we have completed chapter 7, unit 1, 2, and 3. So tomorrow we will be doing unit 4. And then for more information, you can contact Africa Teen Geeks on all social media platforms. And then you can follow them at Africa Teen Geeks. Remember, my email address is on the second slide. So you can also contact me on litikapuleng@yahoo.com. So thank you for being in class with me. See you tomorrow.